Hello everyone, I'm Wong Xiao Ying. My ID number is 9302060754560001. My course is OUMH1303 English for Oral Communication. I am going to share an informative speech. My title is The Health Industry of Malaysia, Health and Social Care. Now I'm going to start my speech. Obesity has emerged as a big issue in most countries. Countries such as Malaysia has identified this problem as one of the burden in healthcare system, which it has been linked to high mortality and morbidity related disease in many private and government hospitals. Formerly, obesity is assumed as a symbol of wealth, prosperity, and health, but on this day it has been an enormous threat to the future generation, where most of them die of complications due to overeating and not starved to death. The prevalence of obesity-related disease in this country has leading to a rapid increase of incidence in chronic disease. According to Health Ministry statistics, heart disease is the third leading cause of death of patients in this country. If compared to the same statistic in countries that have developed as Western Europe, the United States and Japan, the leading cause of death in their country was cardiovascular disease. This clearly indicates that we were moving toward westernization in experiencing the same problem faced by the developing country. As we know, obesity is a problem that will lower the quality of life and the leading cause of many chronic diseases in later life. There are studies state that obesity is an excess of body fat that frequently result in significant impairment of health. Unfortunately, this problem should not be the cause of death if they have little knowledge about the disease and rising awareness about obesity. Thus, it is not surprising the number of obesity has increased every year because of their ignorance and lack of public understanding about the cause of obesity. Working with an environment that tends to lead my patient become into obese has made me aware of my responsibility to take part in battling this issue before it becomes into a heavy burden on my healthcare system. Besides that, I will also explore in depth on how this issue can be a complication-related lifestyle and recommendation for a reappearance our own practice accordingly. Obesity is a condition where a person has excessive body weight due to accumulation of fat in the body. Obesity results when the size or number of fat cells in a person's body increase. Obesity is usually assessed by using body mass index, means BMI, and the level of obesity is a global standard of classification of respondents, either underweight, ideal weight, overweight, and obese. How did BMI calculate? BMI is calculated by dividing person weight in kilogram by height in m squared. A BMI of 18.5 to 22.9 considered as normal, 23 to 27.4 as pre-obese, and above 27.5 is too overweight, means obese. Generally, from the observation that has been made, found that not all of them eat more than the amount consumed by their body weight was obese. But what is for sure, those who are obese eating more than what is needed by their body, and most of them who are obese are most significant to get the disease-related obesity than those with normal body weight. World Health Organization estimates that by 2015, roughly 2.3 billion people in the world will have more weight and 700 million people worldwide will suffer obesity. More worsen, this phenomenon will continue growing into an epidemic and spread to the most developing country. Malaysia is a Southeast Asian country which has the second highest obesity in population. According to National Health and Morbidity Survey, found that 29% of Malaysian adults were overweight and 14% are obese, which means 43% of Malaysian adults are overweight, or 2 in 5 is overweight. Compared with the 10 years back, the survey reported that 17% of Malaysian adults were overweight and another 4% were obese. Through the differences over the 10 years period, the increasing of overweight among Malaysians has clearly jumped into 70%, and more surprising, obesity has risen to 250%. That's why it has become a serious concern for the ministry to confronting the issue, which it has led to many chronic diseases including renal failure in Malaysia. In dialysis center, diabetic mellitus and hypertension were the main causes of my patients are being diagnosed with kidney disease, and most of them also have excessive body weight. Although they have been diagnosed with diabetic and hypertension disease, many of them are still ignoring a daily diet and proper nutrition for them. As a result, mortality of chronic disease become higher in my center. Dealing with obesity, what actually caused the problem to occur? To answer this question, we need to look at the factors that can cause obesity. According to health experts, based on the result of the study, obesity can be influenced by various factors. These factors are among genetic factors, gender, excessive eating pattern, lack of sport motion, emotional, and environmental. So far, there has been no strong evidence and data available linking gender and genetic is the main contributor to obesity. However, through my show that obesity is more linked with the lifestyle and environment compared to other factors. Many experts believe that this factor does have a significant impact in contributing the cause of obesity in developing countries. In the study found, the result of the research show that obesity is closely linked with the unhealthy quality of life. WHO also noted that the leading factors are increasing consumption of energy-dense food high in saturated fat and sugar, and reduced physical activity. That's why I find that excessive sugar intake in beverage and food will certainly lead to diabetes, and if the problem is not treated immediately, patients may require dialysis to survive because of kidney failure. As the population becomes urbanization, the increase in the standard of living and modernization in most countries is usually accompanied by increase in weight gain and obesity. Young people in socio-economic groups are more likely concerned with their career, as demanding on hardworking has been a necessity in worldwide. At the same time, dependence on automated technology such as elevator facility or modern transportation has reduced of their physical activity. Genetic factors also play a big role in contributing the risk of obesity, where it can be inherited from the previous generation to the next generation in a family. Some individuals appear to be born with a genetic predisposition to obesity that is readily nurtured by our nation lifestyle. The most prominent feature of childhood obesity are other family members also face the similar problems, and this usually is caused by genetic defect called Lawrence-Moon syndrome. However, this doesn't mean that if there are family members who are obese and suffer from diabetes or hypertension, the other family members are not necessarily will get kidney disease. Obesity is not a trivial issue, it's a health hazard. One of the major problems that will faced by the obesity children are insulin resistance and metabolism syndrome, as stated by a study. Metabolism syndrome is also higher among the adult population in Asia. WHO as well reported the overweight and obesity also leads adverse metabolic effect on blood pressure, cholesterol, triglycerides, and insulin resistance. Risk of coronary heart disease, ischemic stroke, and type 2 diabetes mellitus increase steadily with increased BMI. This clearly shows that the obesity is one of the primary factors causing of all these chronic disease and associated with increasing risk of death. In Malaysia, especially in dialysis center, the epidemic of chronic disease have been seen to increase rapidly than expected, which almost doubled over the last decade. I find that many of my patients have diabetes and hypertension before this and up until they had suffering from kidney failure. As mentioned earlier, this obese subject also had a significant impact on the economy, which the government have to bear the increasing budget and long-term financial burden to organize the health program and such medical treatment. Healthcare today is also considered costing a lot of cost, whereas as healthcare has been made as an economic activity. For young women, obesity become a problem serious enough because of their desire to be perfect and slim is a dream for them. As a result, $1,000 of money spent on diet, medication, and treatment for losing weight. As young men, they are also afraid to be fat. For them, the fat man would be experiencing problems severe enough to attract the opposite sex. This is cause will require a lot of money to be spent on a diet, by slimming drugs and sport equipment just to be reduced weight. Although they had to bear the burden in the battle against obesity and the disease. With the rapid economic growth and variety of health programs organized by the government has given them a better quality of life than the past. What to recommend is controlling eating and lack of exercise alone to achieve weight loss is not only the solution. From my past experience of public participation, it was found that the response of my patient and as well as the public participate and understand the health program that have been organized in very poor. The structure and guideline with the goal objective and policy is in form of a statement is often difficult to understand by them. As a result, their response is very low in participation, and certainly this implementation process will bring into question on the effectiveness and help program that can make aware of the community. Therefore, the existing campaign must be improved and intensified to convince them of the importance of healthcare. Health program need restructure and recognize in order to expand to the whole community. Health policy should be reviewed immediately in line with the increase of the disease and for a better outcome. To be more effective, I also recommended to my hospital for providing exercise facility or fitness center and free medical checkup to attract them. Apart from the ministry must provide a large amount of expenditure for the purpose of promoting program such as advertising program, which has own way in getting people excited about healthy lifestyle. The advertising program that aim to reduce this burden also should be expanded and make easier for all levels of community to understand the message. As my conclusion, generally this disease has become a huge burden in my workplace as well as in my country. With the available data show that this issue frequently occur in developing countries. By knowing the most common cause and incident of the disease, we can understand how dangerous this scenario to the society. The higher prevalence rate of the problem give a lot of negative implications on health and economy, as the society are supposed to be the economy power and energetic generation in the future. However, government has reinforced their strategy and target in combating this problem. Meanwhile, health policy also should be reviewed immediately to improve for better public health outcome. If these problems are not prevented from the very beginning, can weaken the structure of society and be a heavy burden on healthcare system, as most young people will suffering many of the chronic disease. Therefore, obesity must be tackled as soon as possible before more and more Malaysia will experience it. Thank you.